Well, if you've been watching the past couple of videos, I gave some glances of the arena, just kind of going through the game, and I had a bunch of people mention, are we not going to talk about the player sitting at 1 trillion power? So I figured we'd go over it today, kind of explain a little bit of this account, and kind of see what we can find out of what they're using and how they're having their build. But believe it or not, we've actually gone over this account before. This is File, and they used to be part of Sky, which was Sky File is how they had their name listed. And before the whole CP change, they were sitting at something like 10 billion, which was actually pretty high back in the day before that tweak. And at the time of making that video, they already had their Dragon Girl at 4 stars, they already had their heroes and brands already at Mythic Plus 2, and for those artifacts and mounts, they had a majority of them already maxed out at 5 stars. I was also able to go through and look at their pets. They had multiple triple S's, the Arcana, the best stat you could have for those pet builds, and they weren't really sitting too terrible for everything else they had. Everything for +4 gear inside the game, and even starting to get some Arcanas on things too. And I believe this was also around the time where we got that Flying Knife, the Pangu, the Xingtian, all those new artifacts, and clearly since then, we now have Awakening on these artifacts and mounts, we now have the gem sockets inside things, and clearly a whole bunch of new adventures. Given that we have all that new stuff, I can only imagine that things are completely maxed out on it, and they'll typically go and switch between the Sky Splitter with an Icy Bubble when they're pushing things like the Abyss, and then switch over to the Reaper Staff and go for a full +4 build with a double Bloody Grail. I also was able to go in and grab some guild footage of their defense wins on it. These players don't even stand a chance, but when you got somebody that's 1 trillion power on the other team, I think you just got to give it a shot just for fun. But where we now have the whole thing of hiding stuff inside the game, there's still some things that we could tell by this account by watching that guild battle footage, and we could even see the actual gems they have in their socket. One thing that we can be certain on is they still are using Dragon Girl, and the fact that their strength has a 1.15 and their constitution has a 1.05. The only stats you're going to be able to get this from is the Dragon Girl. So when looking at this account, we can see that they do have a ton of gems, and the fact that even with their Sky Splitter, it's already set up for going and doing combo attacks. They do have the critical hit of 3%, the combo of 1.5%, and then casting this skill of 30% chance of ignoring 50% their reduction, and also a boost to their normal attack. Like I said, pretty sure that this is the set they're using when pushing the actual Abyss, and the fact that they have that actual gem in there that's going to start them off with 1 extra skill when going in. For the armor, they have both the global defense +15% and the HP +15%, and they're rocking that immune to the first 2 controls. And then they also have starting off with a 60% shield and also healing 15% per turn. For the rings, they're running the Pharaoh one. They also have the attack +15%. I think that one's probably the most sought after right there, followed by a couple of lightning ones, and then even a combo rating. Then the other ring, we got some lightning crit, some lightning combo, doing a skill's gonna grant a shield, doing damage to enemies over 70%, and then even going and doing an additional 30% to enemies that are shielded. The Icy Bubble, I feel like this might be one too that just has those gems slot all the other time, so I'm not really certain what the other Bloody Grail is that they go and slot in place of this, but this one here at least deal 30% damage to shielded targets, physical damage reduction, lightning damage reduction, critical hits deal an additional 1.5%, and then burn damage coefficient. The Bloody Grail one though, we got deal 25% damage to targets over that 70%, combo damage coefficient, ignore counter rate, lightning damage reduction, and then global HP. So not really certain if they're switching these things back and forth when they're going between the Reaper and the Sky Splitter, but still, this thing's pretty boosted. We can at least see by that defense battle there, they are using Flash, they're using Freya, and they're using Elsa, and then we do see the Pangu X in there, and also the Sphinx. Oh, and of course, when they're pushing those Abyss and using that Sky Splitter, we can also see that they're using the Heaven's Mark. But overall, pretty freaking boosted account here. This is the first one I've seen over 1 trillion. I'm sure there's probably more of them out there, but still, this is somebody you don't want to mess with when going up against in the game. So hopefully that answers some of the questions. Wish I could show you more on it, but given that we're restricted and we don't want to give away all their secrets, this is what you get to see today. So hopefully that answers some of the questions. If you want to know about the roadmap and what to expect coming in the future of the game, take a look at this video right here. Thanks for watching, and remember, I pick my butt.